It's Valentine's Day, and boy, what a movie we have to talk about for you.
Hopefully it's before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, this is before
You should see
Valentine's
this for
Day.
Valentine's Day
Or-
if you see horror movies for Valentine's Day.
And if you go on movie dates for Valentine's Day, like if this is your first date, don't do movie dates for your first date. Come on, be.
Unless you both are like, we love movies.
And if you just really like quiet company, I guess you know what, live
you
your
can
own
talk
life.
about, but you can talk about the movie after.
Love how you're gonna love.
That's
and then it
true.
gives you something to talk about.
Because I'm like the kind of person.
I'm not here to tell you how to date.
I love to pick apart movies and stuff and talk about them with someone. But also, I understand why most people a movie date might not be the good first date because you're just sitting there.
Yeah, you want to have a little more conversation.
Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes is a very effective romantic comedy slasher.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. I love this movie. It was really good.
Spoilers.
It's the honestly probably the loudest I've laughed in a movie theater in a long time.
Yeah. A director that we
Josh
like.
Ruben.
Yeah, a director that we like recommended the movie.
Okay.
He keeps talking about it on
a writer that we like. C. Robert Cargill.
Yeah. He didn't also direct.
Really? He's part of a writer team.
Oh, okay. Oh,
The director-writer team of, I believe, Sinister.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Black
Black
Phone.
He really liked this movie and had been recommending it.
Yeah.
He will not stop recommending it.
Well, I can see why.
He
It's
said
really
to,
good.
He said to watch it in a full movie theater if you can, and I understand why. Because once we start
I
laughing,
never want to see something in a full movie theater ever
There's
again.
never a reason for that.
Well, I recommend it because
It was nice having
people are
people
terrible.
in the audience laughing.
It's a really
There was
energetic.
specifically an older guy
Yeah.
to our left. It was
Yeah.
just like,
It was
He had like a Tim Curry laugh.
Yeah,
it was
it
kind
was
of
great.
like charming.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why I recommend seeing it with people if you can, because there's an energy in the theater when one person starts laughing and you realize, oh, we can laugh, awesome, and then everyone starts laughing when they want to laugh, and it just really. I love the energy of a movie theater where everyone's
Nick
having
and
a
that
good
guy
time.
We're gonna laugh off of who can laugh louder.
Yeah,
I laughed.
I think you won for loudest laugh, but he laughed. He won for claps. I think he just started clapping.
He applauded the movie.
I don't clap at movies. I think that, unless the people that worked on it are there, I'm not gonna clap
Yeah.
for it. All right, that's a me thing maybe. I don't know.
That's fair, but there's a level where I'm so happy that he's happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Normally
that
I'd be
was-
annoyed by someone clapping, but he was having such a good time that I was like, fuck yeah, dude. This
This
rocks.
old guy loves horror movies.
This is probably my favorite slasher movie since Terrifier 2. I love slasher movies. I've loved them since I was 8 years old. That's just kind of when I got into them.
Oh, that's why you are the way you are.
Yes, that's one of the many reasons I am the way I am, Jesse. Don't look at my journal. But I was surprised going into it because all the marketing I've seen of this made it seem very boilerplate.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
the marketing has done this movie no favors.
The trailer is just standard horror movie.
Which is both a good and a bad thing because it does have that tonal shift. Because this movie is a romantic comedy.
Yes.
For a majority of it. And one that has not only I appreciate a majority of the dialogue. It's very charming. If you like Josh Ruben on any of the Dropout stuff, it's very much kind of that level of humor that's of his style of improv that you see in that.
Yeah, I really appreciate comedians when they direct horror stuff. It's a great combination because they fucking get the genre.
People who do comedy are the best at making horror. That's just true.
Yeah.
They're kind of two, not even necessarily two sides of the same coin, but
it creates
comedy,
a nice balance.
Yes, comedy is, to me and to most people, just kind of a defense against the horrific and absurd things that happen in life. You some things that are so bad that you need to laugh. That's why horror blends with it so well, because all these horrific things are happening.
And then it gives you a release.
Yeah, you need that laugh release, and because you're feeling those feelings. It's okay, look,
That's why I don't get
I'll
when
say
people
that-
are complaining I hate when movies have comedy. It's fuck you. All movies should have a little bit of something funny because that's how life is.
Yeah, on the slasher level, I don't think this movie ever your results may vary, but I don't think it ever tilted in the scary direction for me. To me, this is way more comedy than horror.
It's definitely gory. In
yes,
a
and the
good
practical
number of
effects are
ways.
impressive.
Yeah.
I like a lot.
I looked away a couple times, and that's how you know it's definitely gory.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have lots of dismemberment and things like that are incredibly graphic on screen. Like it's a splatter film.
Yeah, scary. Yeah, wouldn't be the word because I don't think the goal is necessarily to scare you.
No, it's not.
A little bit of suspense for sure.
Yeah.
But like there's a little bit like gross out gore. But like mostly it is there to like entertain you, get you to laugh, and actually like stealthily actually get you invested in the romance.
Yeah. I was surprised by like, I can't remember the last time that I watched a rom-com and genuinely rooted for the couple.
Yeah.
But this has such a lovely, realistic like progression of a romance.
Well,
I wouldn't say realistic. It is.
I mean, in fantasy.
It is absurd to like. It is the most sickeningly sweet meet cute you will ever see. Like to the point that it's basically a parody of rom-com.
There was a point where the cinematography was a joke that we all laughed at. Where there was a shot that was like, I've seen that shot in so many Hallmark Christmas films, right? Where like there's lights in the background and the beautiful man in the foreground, and we all laughed at the shot.
Yeah.
And a lesser artisan, this movie would have been shitty.
Yes.
But I think.
If this were Eli Roth.
Yeah. We were talking about how it felt like, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, but like.
But good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I hate that movie. I think it has like a lot of fun practical effects, but it is really like, I don't give a shit.
The script is nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess when I say realistic romance, I mean that I wanted them to be together, and
You
I
believed
understand
their chemistry.
Yeah, I
They had
believe-
really good chemistry.
Yeah,
Especially once they both let their walls down. But we shouldn't get too far into that. But
Totally,
like,
yeah.
Well,
but like
no,
it's
but
kind of a
they
thing
have
where
some,
like
genuine conversations. I don't feel like this is a movie that's easy to spoil because the enjoyment in this movie comes from the script, the dialogue, the actual moments.
Yeah, it has enough consistent laughs and bits to keep you going, even if you find rom-com stuff kind of even done well, like just okay. They make sure to throw enough curveballs at you during those moments and give you enough like laughs that are not typical of the rom-com genre.
Yeah.
That you'll go along anyway.
Yeah, it was so well put together to the point that I didn't even really care about the whodunit of it all. Like
I was still trying to take it apart, but
it was to the point that I'm like, maybe it's not even a whodunit, because who gives a shit, really? But then it turned into a whodunit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about my thoughts on that once we're past the spoiler point. But
I think it's fair to say the movie doesn't give too much of a shit about the whodunit part.
No.
It's all mostly an excuse for this movie to happen.
I feel like they were trolling us with the whodunit part. Like they were actively
that's where I was at. I'm like, you know what? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Right?
I think
The movie's
they
not
were,
about that.
They were looking at the people that are in the audience trying to guess who did it, and they're like, actually, what if we fucked with you the whole time? What if we kept fucking with you over and over and over? So I was sitting there being like, just looking back and forth, being like, wait, I thought I did, okay, and I love that. I love personally being targeted by a film.
Yeah. I also really like the aspect of this movie where it's not really an origin story. It's not like a Scream. This killer has been, operating for apparently 5 years. Something like that. And so they're just an established person in the world. Everybody knows about them. They're on the news to a comedic degree.
Yeah, they reference BTK as like a cultural phenomenon, but now
the HEK, the hard eye killer.
Yeah. I love that we just get to drop in because like we don't need the whole origin, whatever. Just drop us into the story.
We have our opening scene, which is just a super comedic, like fake romance, like kind of a toxic couple just getting slaughtered.
Yeah. Like one of those like
in very creative ways. I like the way they dispatch them. They do have some very inventive kills in this.
I think we all went to school with the kind of like let's just say it white couple that acts this specific way.
No, they were Instagram lovers. Like they were doing everything.
We
for
can
social
imagine
media.
the kind of people who we went to school with who ended up like that.
Yes. Do we want to put the spoiler thing here so we can talk in detail, or do we have anything else?
I mean, I think it's very clear we recommend it. I'm not sure how much we can talk about without spoiling. Actually, come to think of it.
And I am of the opinion, somebody who genuinely hates spoilers, I don't think there's much that you can spoil about this movie. But I will say that if you want to go in as fresh as possible, go see it. Like this is like if you have somebody to see it with, this is a fantastic date movie, Valentine's Day or otherwise.
If you like to be as unspoiled as possible, dip out now.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah,
we'll say that. And also like I really appreciate that the trailer, it's a weakness and a strength that the trailer doesn't get the vibe of the movie at all. Like I like that
It
they
felt like
don't,
Scott Pilgrim
but-
marketing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
where they just
like-
didn't understand the genre.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were trying to hide the genre in order to actually get people
I'm sick
in.
of trailers doing that. I'm sick of trailers like, oh, we're not going to tell people this is a musical. We're not going to tell people this is a comedy. Just fucking do it.
No,
But,
this is a rom-com with like actual like the two leads in this are fantastic. Like they are the heart of this movie, and you actually root for them. That is so fucking rare. You're right.
And as somebody who is not into slasher movies as a genre, I liked it anyway. So if you're not into the slasher movies, but you like comedy mixed with horror, this is still for you, I think.
Yeah, because I'm also a person that doesn't personally like gore. I
don't get much out of it.
I don't really see a movie and think this could be enhanced with it or not. I understand why people like it, but for me personally, I'm not a fan of gore. This movie is so gory, and I loved it. Like everything else, like the balance of romance and comedy and gore and scare, like everything really blended well personally for me to really enjoy it.
And I looked away, but the movie gives you lots of opportunity to look away.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Luckily, it's a.
it doesn't shock you too much with gore.
I think.
No, this is very much like a teen popcorn
Yeah,
horror
they,
movie.
and they let you know it's coming.
Yeah, was it a movie Oh no, it was a movie I saw with someone else, but like X. I liked X because when you know something scary and gory is gonna happen, they give you so much time to look away. Like it takes a while, like they're walking toward, like someone about to step on a nail. They do a shot where they're really slowly walking towards it. So if you're like, you can look away. This movie also gives you opportunities to be like, I don't want to see what's about to happen.
Anything that happens quickly isn't super gory, and anything that's super gory happens very slow.
But yeah, for real now, spoilers are gonna happen now. We spent a lot of time on that spoiler warning. That was like a full minute or two.
It's a preamble.
Yeah. Well, there are some things about this movie that like I'd be like, I don't want to know that before I would go in. So I
That's
just
fair.
wanted to make sure. You know.
But now it's fair game.
Yeah.
Fair game for all of you. You have been warned.
It's funny because I have stupid writer brain that I can't turn off. But I knew that the movie, jumping way to like the act 3 of it all, I just wanted to say that I knew the movie wasn't going to end yet because we hadn't used the straw. You know,
Yeah.
it's Chekhov's straw.
Yeah, as soon as they point out the straw a second time,
Yeah.
me and Jesse were both like, that's gonna get used to kill one of the bad guys.
Yeah, no, that I was waiting for that for like the final bit. I'm like, yeah, there's another one out there. How could there not be? There's too many things that so this is a kind of a Scream situation where there are multiple killers.
Yes, and I
And
love
this movie's
that.
very inspired by Scream. Also a little bit of Hot Fuzz. They
they
straight
did
up
a straight-up
took
joke.
a joke from
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz. So
Yeah.
I think that was intentional in order to like just give a little love to Hot Fuzz. I think.
Yeah. There's a difference of like an homage and a joke steal, and I think that was an homage.
I think it was homage because they didn't. Yeah, they did a similar joke structure for a very small bit. They didn't even do it as long as Hot Fuzz
Yeah.
did. I think it was just like, I love Hot Fuzz. I love that Hot Fuzz is a slasher and another type of movie, and this is like that too.
Yeah. And I it's so funny because when the thruple line happens, when it's like first of all, I love the reveal of like, we don't know who the fuck this guy is. That's really funny, and that could have been a beat they ended on.
When they pull off the mask, and it's just like, that's just some guy.
Just some guy. That was crazy. I loved
and
that.
they dwell on the face too, so like you and the audience are like, is that somebody I'm supposed to recognize?
Yes. I love that. I love that
Yeah.
they like leaned on it for a while as if to like kind of gaslight you a little back and forth to be like, you're supposed to know this man. No, you don't actually.
It's that Justice League beat where Lex
I
Luthor.
have-
I have no idea who this is.
And then when it kept going and the thruple line came up, I was like, am I about to see the worst poly representation I've ever seen in my life? But no, they didn't. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
thank
no.
God. It was this movie it's surprisingly woke, but like no, I like the progressive.
It's not unwoke.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that they had little touches of it. He didn't kill a gay couple. I mean, they joked about that in the beginning, and then they didn't.
I think it was going to.
Yeah, he's about to kill a lesbian couple.
But he didn't.
But yeah, there was a joke early on where like you hear someone on the radio say, "I don't think he kills gay couples,"
That's a really funny line.
which I think there were a few bits of ADR that were just Josh Ruben throwing in a joke.
Yeah,
I
and
can
of
see
course
that.
he did have a Hitchcock cameo where he
Yes.
just
Yeah,
pops
yeah.
out of a car. Everybody run or call the police.
It's called 911.
Yeah, it's so funny seeing him as just a man, not doing a cartoon voice, not
Not
dressed
being a
in
seagull.
zany way, not being a seagull. No, I'm so stoked for him. Like I know that
this
he's
was a great movie.
Yeah, he's directed before, and and I haven't really heard the excitement for those other films as I have for this one. So I'm just really stoked to like. I'd be so excited to have produce the best movie that I have in my career so far and have everyone be really excited
No,
about
yeah,
it.
he's gonna have people approaching him.
Yeah,
for this one.
yeah.
Like
It's really
even if
impressive.
this movie
good.
doesn't make money, he's gonna have people approaching
And
him.
it's a horror movie, so it's going to make money.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
what's cool
it's
about the
very hard.
genre.
It's very hard for it not to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really just a question of will it like do gangbusters or not?
Yes,
If
and I want it to.
If it doesn't in theaters, it will on streaming for sure.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Either
That's a really good
either
point.
way, this is a kickstart to his career.
Yeah.
Like that's just true.
I was talking about Cargill before, and I understand why when people see the movie, they're really excited and they won't like stop talking about it to their friends because it's like, no, I want this to make money. I want people to make more movies like this.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Because the structure of it is so interesting. It starts off, you get your opening kill. It's like this is what you're going to be here for. And now we are going to spend about a half an hour on a meet-cute rom-com about a girl who's worried about being replaced at her job by this guy that she just met who's super hot and super into her. And they go on like a date. She's recently broke up with her ex. All this awkward stuff happens. Like I love the headbutt beat.
Yeah.
When they're
They make
like
it sound
meeting at the
gnarly,
coffee
too.
shop. There's so many great things in that coffee shop. It's like, wow, I have like I can't believe there's another person out there who has the most obnoxious coffee order. It's actually really common. Can you two please move away from the counter?
Yeah, they were really like.
and yeah, they took like the we hit her head.
Yeah, they
to an
like
extreme.
they headbutted. She went down. He bends down. She headbutts him on the way up. He breaks his nose.
Yeah, they make the second headbutt sounds even louder than the first.
And it's still like saccharine sweet. Mikio's like, no, it's fine. I'm good.
Now, you do learn that the guy's actually genuinely very nice and forgiving of basically anything.
to the point that he's basically the red herring of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that they're trying to like be like, oh, you should keep your eye on him.
And they're both putting on fronts, which I think was a smart choice. Like she's putting on like the more obvious Hallmark protagonist front of like,
I need to focus on my
hate love.
career, and I've been recently spurned.
Yeah. But he has a wall of like overdoing it and like being smothering almost and like trying to be charming and like believe in love.
The hopeless romantic who can't have a relationship because he's too giving and then he gets his heart broken.
Yes. Well, and also like he creates an idea of his partner in his head that they can't live up to, which is not fair to them.
Which to me is super relatable because I was very much like that.
I think it's relatable to a lot of guys who like aren't trying to be bad, but like will do something that puts too much pressure on their partner.
You romanticize the relationship more than you romanticize than you like the person.
And it's a weirdly dehumanizing thing to do to somebody, and when you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because to you, it's love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like this movie's a little bit about how like movies and TV kind of just warp people's ideas of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that I could trust. Like, there's a moment in a movie where you're like, oh, I trust you. I trust the journey this movie is putting me on. The first scene was great. I was like, awesome. This is going to probably be a good film, but I don't know quite yet.
Yeah,
but,
crushing the lady in the wine.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, because I was like,
that's a real
ooh.
creative way to get him.
Yeah, it was creative. It was funny. The pacing is great in that first scene.
Fun
so I was
skull
like,
pop effect. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
let's
that was
go.
crazy to see. I loved that. But the moment I was like, I trust this movie is when they were on the date and they had no chemistry. You know what I mean? Like they were like, they were just weird.
Yeah, it was really awkward.
felt-
Like they're in
yeah.
this like overly romantic place for something that's supposed to be kind of a work meal.
Yeah, he was
And-
being kind of weird to her, then she was being aggressive
Yeah, it's
back. Like,
well, because like the entire concept of their like even their professional relationship is they have to come up with a romantic ad campaign for a jewelry store.
yeah.
Or a jewelry line. And so he's like, you've been recently heartbroken. So that can also be part of the professional thing. It's like, you can't make a romantic ad if you are heartbroken and hate romance.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, it's kind of the cliche, like kind of like done in 50 Days of Summer, where he works for Hallmark cards, essentially.
Yeah.
And like she does essentially the same kind of job, where it's like marketing for love.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
love that fucking campaign. That's so funny to be
Yeah,
like,
the
you know
till
what told
death-
us about the fucking killer and
Yeah.
this is ruined? We
Yeah,
spent
till
$50
death do us
million.
part.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
It was great that it was actually convincingly shot like a,
it was
jewelry
beautiful.
campaign.
Yeah. And so they go on this like really awkward date and they have all these meet cute moments where it's like, oh no, I forgot my keys, or shit, we ran into my ex and now you have to pretend to be my boyfriend because now I'm trapped in this awkward situation. Because like she genuinely does have that butterfly in her stomach thing, but she's not willing to admit it to herself, which is why she runs out and kisses him, and then
And of
the
course,
boyfriend
yeah,
catches.
and then it turns out like her doing that is what
Yeah,
basically
it's-
gets the killer after
yeah,
them. Is her
it's
doing
the,
the Hallmark
it's
thing.
the inciting event.
They were like, oh yeah, this one actually. We're changing
Like
course.
doing the romance cliches.
And then she gets locked out of her apartment. I love it's like, I'm just gonna break the window. Like, no, you can't do that. First of all, your thumb is on the inside of your hand. Here, let me do it. Pulls out a handkerchief. See, yeah, come prepared. Punches it. There. Looks at his hand, bleeding. Oh no, she has to clean his wound. And then, oh no, they're having this like really romantic conversation and she left out her dildo.
Yeah, just
So she's trying to hide it, and then she opens up the closet door. The killer's there. Boom! You're in the slasher now. Fuck.
And what I noticed was really smart about that was just like they get you so just entrenched in just the rom-com element of it, and they have you in the middle of a good bit, which is trying to hide a dildo from someone who like is in your bedroom.
And then bam,
and that's when they have the killer show up.
Yeah.
That's
before the
brilliant.
joke is over.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
because we were
That's
really caught
very
off guard,
smart.
and then she throws the vibrator at his head. That's so funny to do. Like
extremely smart stuff.
Yeah.
A fucking brilliant move for this movie to go from like this real like a rom-com that I, as somebody who's not a fan of rom-coms, is invested in, and then killer's here now, fucking go.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't know, this weird thing like. It's a straight guy cliche to be like, I don't like romance movies. I think a lot of straight guys can like romance movies.
I
You
can.
just gotta like the great ones. There's too many bad ones. Like My Best Friend's Wedding, great movie.
I mean, there are a lot of like kind of cliche ones that you're just like, I'll watch it, but I'm not super into it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Like
The
I think
Notebook.
I recognize that it's good. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's a little
And also
too
maybe it's
saccharine.
not. But
And I thought it's also.
But it's universal. Like people like it.
it's liked.
Yeah. But it's also part of it is just like a lot of rom-coms haven't aged super well. So you're like, oh, I remember I liked The Notebook, and then you watch it back and you're like, oh my god, like this is abusive.
Yeah,
is this abusive?
you go back and watch You've Got Mail, and you're like, oh, this movie's actually really depressing. It's about the death of bookstores.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, oh fuck.
I'm sad actually watching this movie.
Yeah.
No, don't get with him. He killed your bookstore.
Yeah, they're doing this great like deconstruction of like a Hallmark love story, and then all of a sudden the killer's there, and you're running through this slasher scenario.
But they're still doing the wrong.
Yeah, they still have the rom-com moments where it's like they're free, but like, oh no, I had to dive and like tackle you to save you from like getting hit by that truck, and they just have that awkward like him on top of her like looking down moment, and then you just see the killer walk into the background. Oh fuck, right.
Yeah.
And good foreshadowing. The only two characters after the slasher stuff comes in that are also kind of doing rom-com stuff, like you're not dating, are the killers.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it was a weird beat to have the IT guy ask her out, and something in my brain said, he's special somehow.
Me too, yeah.
And then he
I mean,
left
it's
the
them
scene.
problem.
But yeah, then
Yeah.
they, but
I'm
then
like,
you
oh,
let-
that's a handsome man.
but then they let you forget about him,
Yeah, we forgot, and then he was there all of a sudden. I was like,
which is also
Just
the key.
shooting my shot. Like,
Which
Yeah.
what's great about that is it's key to a good mystery and key to a good joke.
yeah, yeah.
And it's both in that moment, because like the key to good mystery is give people the clues, let people forget about it, and then key to a good joke is give people the setup, let them forget, then hit them with the punchline.
Yeah.
Like,
'cause
Perfect amount of time in between.
They get away from the killer for a bit, but I forget the character's name. Handsome man, Jay something.
Jay.
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 Jay gets like accused of being the Hard Eyes killer, and they do have this like great argument where it's like, you kind of ditched me back there. It's like, I was being chased by a killer. So was I.
These muscles are for hugging.
And-
These muscles are for cuddling.
And to be fair,
yeah.
and to be fair, that was my first thought when she ran away. Was like, oh well, he
lived.
has a concussion. Like, a good thing the slasher chased you.
Yeah.
So like he gets taken in for questioning, and a lot of the stuff in the police station was kind of forgettable for me. Like it was an okay beat.
I think it was an important beat.
It was
for the
important,
movie.
yes. Yeah, for the movie it was important. It was just some of like on second viewing, I think it'll be better because then you're like already aware of what's going on. But
I think the biggest issue with it is you've seen this beat in a lot of movies.
Yes.
So it's a little harder to get to like be into it.
yeah. And there aren't a lot of like creative kills or anything in there.
Yeah, no, I think honestly
it's-
they led with the most creative kill.
Yes. Probably not the most graphically impressive kill.
But the most creative, like, because they open with like these people, this horrible white Instagram couple being in a winery, and like the girl hides in a wine thing and gets crushed.
The stage proposal, and she gets crushed.
Like,
a dude gets shot in the back of the head
wine.
by an arrow. Like there's some really good effects work. Again.
I like the arrow effect because one of his eyes was like kind of going off the other way once he got the arrow in him. I was like, oh, that's a nice touch, you know?
Yeah.
From a writer perspective and from an audience perspective to a degree, the cop scene was important to me because I was suspecting the cop at that point. But if you're not suspecting the cop, you're like, oh, this is going on a little long, you know? But I understand from a writer perspective, I'm like, this scene has to be there. But it just went, for me, I think it went on a little long, but I understand it has to be there.
Yeah.
I
did notice that they hadn't killed her on screen. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's also weird to me that the male cop, Hobbs, he died way too. Like, he died very fast and kind of unceremoniously.
But when you think back to it, the way he died makes a lot of sense. If he was macking on that guy's girl,
Yeah.
and he stabbed him in the dick.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. No, that was a like.
So when you think back, it actually like works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also like, you know, cuts off suspects in my brain because I thought it was going to be Hobbs and Shaw. And then he died. So I was like, oh, okay, so she's still in play, but it's not him. So there's another guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt stupid not to be like, oh yeah, of course it was her. She's the one who was driving him, and then he got kidnapped.
Yeah.
I felt dumb.
As soon as he got in the car with her, I said, oh no, this movie's still going. This movie's still going.
Oh, I knew the movie was going as soon as they didn't recognize the killer. Like, there's just no way.
Like, there's always an extra beat there.
There had to be another killer.
I love her going to the airport and hugging a guy from behind who looks like him. She's like, oh fuck.
Being low-key a little
I'm
racist.
racist. I wanted him to say that.
And the guy was just like,
He was just so uncomfortable. He just left without a word. He didn't even say it's okay. He's just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
There was one joke that I felt like was weirdly commentary where like they refer to the main girl as a HWW
hysterical
white woman. It's like, oh, and like that's, I don't know, to me it's like almost smart because like A, she's right, and B, like it's still using hysteria towards a woman, which is still misogyny even if you put white in front of it.
Totally, yeah.
But it was two women doing it, so.
Yes.
Well, women can be misogynistic.
Girls get it done.
Yeah. The one beat that didn't quite work for me in the writing is this is a serial killer that moves from city to city every year. But we're assuming that these two have been working in Seattle for a while. She has there's nothing that says that they're installations.
That definitely is the weirdest part.
Why were they in Boston? Why were they in Philadelphia? And why only now are they attacking their hometown? Is the weird thing to me.
That's a good, like, I have that question too, and my thought was just there isn't really an answer.
Yeah.
And also, it's
why I didn't
just
really care about the whodunit. It's like, who does it really matter who the killer is?
And there are also two coincidences of like his initials being the same as the other guy, and also he was in the locations of the other killings at the times of the killings. That's just like that's crazy coincidence.
Yeah, that was a weird drop. That like she's having this interrogation with Jay, Shaw. She's having this interrogation with Jay, and she's like, well, you were in this city during these killings, in this city during these killings. Like, I travel around. I was like, yeah, that is a little coincidental, though. That she would also be there, and her partner would also be there.
And that's why I thought, and maybe this is something if they get a sequel they would do, where I thought it was the main girl's best friend, like doing a long game to get them together.
Yeah.
The very supportive, like BFF.
Like basically like playing the long
daddy.
game to get her a companion.
I did like their conversations. Like, I don't have a sugar daddy, I have a sponsor.
Yeah, no, I love that.
That's regressive, actually.
Yeah, no, I love that the friend was just kind of a little shitty. She's very supportive and fun, but then she was kind of mean, and then she goes back to being fun
shitty
again.
in a very self-actualized way.
Yeah, I love the depth
shitty
of
but
it.
supportive.
Yeah.
I think if there is a sequel, that will absolutely be the reveal is that she was actually behind everything that happened in the first film. But like, if they do a sequel,
They might do prequels. They've set themselves up for that too.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I was telling you that you changed the trajectory of who I thought the villain was going to be, because I thought it was going to be the best friend, and then at one point you leaned over and said, "I think I know who it is," and then I rethought everything for some reason. I was like, "No,
It just made
too
you
easy. Wipe the board. It's the cop." Actually, it was I like you were saying. I think. Or no, not I think. You were saying that they might have set up a couple different possibilities in case there was a sequel or whatever, and
I think that might be true.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
could see that.
and maybe they set it up in like a Who Shot Mr. Burns scenario where it's like it could be anybody. Like it didn't really hit the same way Scream did with that is the thing, which is why like the whodunit is probably like one of the weakest aspects of this movie.
Well, and I think like they did a little end tease that I think if they do a sequel, they can come back to it and be like, we gave you the clues. Where the best friend does a bit where she pretends to be Hard Eyes.
And
she has access to the voice.
Uses the same filter.
Yeah.
So that straight up tells you it could be her also involved and she, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I also like.
It'd
I
be a
understand,
weird poll, but
I understand why you could think the whodunit is a weaker aspect, but
I think it's the weakest aspect.
That's
like,
fair,
Let me
yeah.
let me be clear.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
not bad, just weakest.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna say I was impressed with the whodunit. Because it was lower priority, but they kept doing fun
still
red
did the
herrings
work.
over and over
Yeah.
and over.
Like some stuff doesn't make sense, but it does make sense if they have a sequel.
Yeah, if you, I'll say this: if you go through it and watch it again, the whodunit is set up. It just doesn't, like, to me, it didn't matter. Like, that wasn't the point of the movie because it wasn't the heart.
And I would agree with that. Like, it's one of those things, again, weakest, not bad, just weakest.
Yeah. Because everything else is pretty strong.
Yeah,
so,
everything else, everything in the movie is
It'd
good,
be-
I think. I'm not sure there's a single thing I'd call bad.
The most important part was the chemistry between the two leads, and that was pitch
that was
perfect
great.
in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're having this very emotional, like, breakdown conversation while hiding from a killer, and there's two stoned out hippies like having sex behind them in a van that they're hiding in.
And that's a good,
I
like,
loved
that's
that
the example
scene.
of what I was saying, like, where when they do the rom-com stuff, there's something else happening too
Yeah.
to keep you going
And-
if you're not invested in that.
Yeah.
And like there's metaphor to it too, because like as they're talking, like it's like
It's almost like they're
it's like
commenting.
the guy's like kind of delving deeper into his soul. It's like and this more and this more.
Yeah, they keep going.
She's like, and, it's like, and then he finally like drops like a big one, and she's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, the theater
Well,
fucking
the girl
loved that.
says, like, I actually like this movie. And the guy goes, oh, you like that?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, no, it was it hit such a good balance because if it was it would have been too much if it was louder or more in your face, and if it was not subtle, if it was too subtle, it wouldn't have hit.
No,
so it was
you're just
perfect.
hearing kind of like gross slurping noises. And
Yeah,
every now
yeah.
and again they'll like mutter something in
Yeah.
the background.
And I think you guys also knew, like, they had to die. Like, they had to be killed at some point.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no way.
and they were killed in a very Friday the 13th way.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that because of the trailer. Like that is one of the things they show off.
okay.
Because it's a very impressive shot, in the trailer, the zoom out to see the big hole.
Yeah, that's actually an homage to the Texas Chainsaw remake. Yeah.
Yeah, they had really creative kills in here, and also I loved the fucking the night vision for the hard eyes where it's red.
Which
they definitely did
Silence of
just
the
for the
Lambs.
visual, but it was a good visual.
It's
So that
also,
doesn't
it's
exist.
also kind of a Silence of the Lambs nod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Buffalo Bill, he has like night vision goggles and like
Oh okay.
hunts in the dark.
Sick.
It's like that whole thing just kind of like gave me that vibe. So this is kind of like a horror lovers, like there are beats that will pay homage to other things, and if they aren't homages, they're close enough to being one.
Yeah. No, I could buy that because with the not Shaun of the Dead. What's the other?
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. I can see it's like from little touches that are like, we love horror movies. We love these vibes. This is a love letter. We're gonna put little. You can trust us. We know what we're doing. We're making fun of shit.
I'll also say, like, they avoided things that like would have been like for me. Like at the end they did a kind of clever thing of like having the woman get decapitated
By Saint Valentine?
by Saint Valentine after pointing out that Saint Valentine was decapitated. And
it was a real like just to
I
gush
had to
on
look
the
away for
yeah
like
you
a
had to
full
look
half
you
a
had to look
minute.
away because like the effect work they did on this. They had the statue sword going through her neck, and you slowly see the sinews start to tear.
Yeah.
Like little by little, and then they had this like great dummy corpse just.
Yeah, and I had to look away.
Yeah. And she was still like alive during it, so she's gasping and like trying to figure out what's happening to her body.
She's having her death throw. She has a metal straw jammed into her brain, and she is slowly being decapitated.
And the thing
by
is,
statue of
it's
Saint
realistic that
Valentine.
as you're being decapitated, you'd still be alive.
Yeah. No, I loved it.
But yeah, like, the thing that would have made me grow up would be them being like, well, Saint Valentine was decapitated or something like that, and instead they didn't really address it.
She
just looks at Saint Valentine and says,
I fucking hate your
yeah,
holiday.
your holiday fucking sucks. And I'm like, oh, good.
That's
you
funny.
kept the groan away. I felt the groan being there, and you
That's
avoided it.
still a bit of a mid 2000s line, which is fine because this is aping mid 2000s slashers.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
in the best
slashers.
way, where it's like it's better than them.
Yes. It wasn't out of nowhere because they've been making fun of tropes the whole time. So when someone gave a badass one-liner, I actually laughed at it. I was like, all right, no, I get it. This is the vibe.
Like the biggest strength in this movie is by far its script and its two leading actors. Its effects work is also an amazing strength. It's solid overall recommendation.
Yeah, for everyone, for the people who ask, does Stephan like anything? Yes, I do. I liked Hard Eyes.
Stephan likes this.
I like a lot of things. You just haven't seen me talk about it a lot.
Yeah, you like that? You like that?
Oh yeah. Don't demonetize us, YouTube.
You know you
Daddy.
want more. Click that subscribe button.
Have a great Valentine's Day. Oh, also,
Yeah.
I found that they were giving a little Valentine's. We'll get a better shot of this to put in
Maybe.
post. Maybe.
Well, Jesse's the editor, so he can do it.
That's on Jesse.
Have a good
Now it's gone
Valentine's
forever.
Day, folks. Wear protection.